Secretary of State Antony Blinken heads to China this weekend.
Blinken will be the highest-ranking U.S. official to visit China since President Biden took office. He was scheduled to visit Beijing earlier this year, but that trip was postponed over the Chinese spy balloon seen flying across the U.S.
CBS News Chief Foreign Affairs correspondent Margaret Brennan joins us now from our Washington bureau to discuss this and other items. Margaret, great to see you. What does the Biden administration hope to accomplish during this trip? And from your view, what is this really about?
Well, you know, Errol, there has not been an American cabinet official in China since 2019. There's been no Secretary of State from the Trump administration on. That was partially due to COVID. That was due to the spike in tensions during the last administration. And those tensions have continued, as you were just illustrating, with that spy balloon that was shot down in February. And this is the most important relationship that the United States has in the world, in the view of the Biden administration's strategic planning here. China is a fast-growing economy. It is a powerhouse, and it's increasingly aggressive militarily. You remember that near miss that recently happened in the Taiwan Strait. And so with all of this potential conflict, the Biden administration's focus here in trying to send their top diplomat is to lower the tension, begin that thaw that President Biden said he hoped would soon be underway, and to try to at least begin talking. They are making clear there aren't a lot of big achievements they expect to leave Beijing with. It is simply to begin talking again and to make clear that conflict is happening, but it doesn't have to be a military one.
You know, Margaret, as you're talking about all the ways in which the U.S.-China relationship is essential, economic, geopolitical, et cetera, what are the stakes here as they try to thaw the U.S.-China relations?
This is incredibly important in terms of the relationship economically and financially. In many ways, the competition is already underway, and those first battlefields will be not, military. They are in boardrooms. They are in that competition and the degree to which the U.S. and China are intertwined economically. Americans remember this from experiencing it during the pandemic. It is hard for the United States to use its financial leverage without some kind of blowback here. So this is a really delicate thing when it comes to the stakes. And for Beijing, there is concern right now, certainly from the top on down, that they want to be able to continue the economic growth that they have had. And by having this competition with the United States, it's making things tense and making that investment a little bit harder. There are American businesses who have made clear, Bain in particular, one of them recently, who said that state security came into their offices, an American company, and harassed workers and arrested people. If that kind of confrontation happens, the Biden administration putting restrictions on what sensitive technologies can be sold there, this is getting more and more tense, and it's playing out in a way that could have not just geopolitical implications, but economic ones.
And what we've seen, Margaret, is that China and the Communist Party there has almost positioned itself as the global counterweight to the U.S., supremacy as a global superpower, and it's advantageous for them in so many ways. So you wonder where there might be areas of cooperation on issues like Ukraine, where we've seen China almost align itself with Russia and keeping its relationship close to the Kremlin. Do you see any potential avenues of progress that could be made there?
Well, the Biden administration has really drawn a very clear line saying that Beijing needs to sort of stay where it is in terms of the support it's giving and not cross that line of going into lethal aid in the form of ammunition and other things that Secretary Blinken told me months ago were actually under consideration and conversation. So there's that line that's being drawn saying, give rhetorical support, continue to trade. That's not something the United States likes, but something China has continued to do with Russia. And that has been that counterbalance, to your point, to the West's sort of military and financial heft. China and Russia are trading. China is buying Russian oil at a discount. Those sanctions don't mean much in Beijing. They are willing to go ahead and deal with Vladimir Putin as he is. This is an alliance between Moscow and Beijing. And so that is, as you were saying there, Xi Jinping building up this counterweight to the United States. And this is one of the many areas that Secretary Blinken will bring up, but there isn't a lot of hope of a breakthrough necessarily. There had been in the early stages the hope. And in fact, U.S. diplomats went to the Chinese government and said, please don't let your friend Vladimir Putin go ahead with this invasion. And those entreaties fell on deaf ears. So now, after the invasion is already underway and into a very bloody war, there is hope China might change the calculus. They have certainly said clearly, Xi Jinping has, do not use a nuclear weapon. So they can perhaps try to control Vladimir Putin a little bit, but it is not necessarily something that the Biden administration would expect. They do not expect China to be a good faith peace broker in this conflict.
Yeah, we have seen Xi wanting to be the kingmaker in that, but not a lot of progress. Margaret, we could talk to you for hours. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Margaret.
Thanks for having me.